Welcome back, everyone, to the eCoreAcademy e-learning platform. My name is AJay Raj, back with you another eCore Express Java lesson for you all. And in today's lesson, we're going to be doing more exercises. We're going to be doing our last exercise of this Unit 3, and it's going to be all on compound if statements. This was the ending of our lessons. This was a more challenging topic that we were going to cover, and so today I'm going to take you through a little bit more of a difficult exercise just to round off this unit, just to ensure that you understand what conditionals are like, what this whole unit is on. Conditionals. We're going to be going through the hardest type of conditionals called compound if statements. We're also going to be combining that with some logical thinking with this exercise. It's not an easy one, but we'll give it a try. This one is called TicketAges. That's the name of this exercise. We do a compound if statement exercise in the previous lesson that Anita is going to show you, but we're going to be ending this off with a different type of exercise. Like I said, a little bit more logical thinking involved. So without further ado, let's switch over to our Eclipse workspace so we can give it a shot. All right, so as you all can see on my screen, I have my Eclipse workspace opened up. I just created a new class within our Unit 3 section of eCore Express Java. That's our package, Unit 3. And then we just created a new class called TicketAges. This is going to be our final exercise of this unit and our final video of this unit. So this is really going to be a summative exercise to really see if you understood the concepts in this unit. So feel free to pause at any moment if you think I'm going a little bit too fast. But you should be able to keep up at the pace that I'm going at. All right, so let's take a look at the prompt. The prompt says we have to create a program that simulates a ticket discount verifier for an amusement park. The following are the requirements for someone to get a discount. We have two requirements. The first requirement says they must be younger than 12 years old or older than 65 years old. I apologize, that should say or older than 65 years old. So they can be younger than 12 years old or they can be older than 65 years old. And the second part of this is it must either be a Friday or a Sunday. So the day of the week and the age is what's going to determine whether or not an individual is going to be eligible for a discount. So with those things in mind, we're going to start by creating some general variables. And then we're also going to start by utilizing any of our functions that we need from Turtle Graphics. So since we're going to be interacting with a user, we're going to ask them. So we're essentially asking them to input their information as including their age and what day of the week it is into the console. We have to use our keyboard reader function. So if you remember that correctly, we have to go to the top. In our second line here, we're going to say import. We're going to say Turtle Graphics, which is the name of the folder that you stored that function keyboard reader in. Turtle Graphics, period, keyboard reader, and then semicolon. So what we did here is should be import. So you want to memorize the syntax here. We're going to import Turtle Graphics. That's our folder name, and then keyboard reader is that specialized function that we used in the previous lessons. It's where you're able to read anything that a user inputs to your console. So we're going to call in keyboard reader. We're going to import it. Now the next step that we're going to do is we can enter this to the bottom of our code so that we have our code available here. And then the next part that we're going to do is we're going to do our variable declarations here. It's always good to label these things out. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to call in our keyboard reader function. That's always important. Since we already imported keyboard reader, I like to put your function at the very top. So let's put keyboard reader at the very top of our code. So we'll say keyboard reader equals new keyboard reader, and then open parentheses. So we just officially called in our function. We imported that from our Turtle Graphics folder, and now we're officially calling the function, meaning that we're going to use it within this code. So now that we've called that, we called our function in, let's create some variables. So if we look back here at our prompt for this exercise, we have two qualifying variables that we need to create. The first one is we need to find whether or not the person's age is going to apply to the discount code, and we also must find out whether or not it's the right day of the week for them to actually get a discount. So that means we have to create two variables. The first variable, we're going to make an integer because we're going to be finding out whether or not what the person's age is. So we're going to say integer age. And then the second variable, because we're trying to find out what day of the week it is, we need them to enter a day of the week. Now, in order to enter a day of the week, what variable type will that have to be? Well, that's going to have to be a string because you're putting something in word form, so it can't be an integer or a double. And because each day of the week has more than one character, one letter, we have to make it a string. So we'll go up here and make our second variable called string, and we're going to name this day of the week. So that's the name of our second variable. Now that we've created both of our variables, we're going to want to get we're going to want to get the information from the user when they input it into the console. So that means we have to read in what the value of age and what the day of the week is from the console. So we're going to utilize our keyboard reader function. We're going to create our system.out.println function here. And all we're going to ask is we're going to ask them to please input your age here. And all that's going to be is we're going to set our variable age equal to reader.read int. So all this is going to do here is we just said system.out.println, please input your age. That's going to print to our console, and then the user can then put their age in. They can type in a number, and what will happen is age, our variable here, is going to be equal to whatever the keyboard reader reads in. Whatever their number is, it's going to store that in our age variable. Now the next part of this is very similar. It's going to be system.out.println, and now we're going to be asking them to please input the day of the week. So for this, we're going to want to specify, because it's going to be inputting text, you want to specify if you want everything lowercase, uppercase, and how you want it spelled. So we'll just say we want everything in lowercase. Colon, space. And then we'll end it off with a semicolon. And then after that, we're going to set our variable day of the week. We're going to set it equal to whatever the keyboard reader reads in from what the user inputs. So we'll say day of the week is equal to reader.read line. And just if you did not know, I know we said here reader.read int because age is an integer. We're reading in an integer for their age. We put reader.read int. But since now we're reading in a string, the syntax for this is going to be reader.read line instead of reader.read int. So reader.read line is for a string, reader.read double is for a decimal, a double, and then reader.read char is for a character. The only weird one here is line here. It's not string, it just says reader.read line for strings, string variables. So now that we have that done, we can put a semicolon on there. So we did the second part of our program here, which is where we're going to be storing values from the user. Now we're on to our third part, and this is the most important part of this unit. We're going to be verifying. So this is our verifying part. And this is where we're going to be utilizing our conditionals. Conditional. Okay. This is where we're going to be utilizing our if-else ladder. So if you remember anything about the previous lessons, it's when we have a certain condition. Now, as you can see here, these two right here, these two conditions here are going to be the two main parts of our if statement. So we're going to start by creating our if statement here. We're going to say if, and we're going to have to plan out what our if statement is going to look like. Just create those opening and closing brackets there. So we're going to say if here. So the first part of this qualification here, in order for someone to get a discount, they must be younger than 12 years old or older than 65 years old. So let's start with that. That means that the age has to be either less than or equal to 12 years old. Younger than 12. So that means their age must be less than 12 years old, or it can be greater than 65 years old. So let's go here and we'll type this in here. We'll say, we'll put in another set of parentheses. We'll say if age is less than 12, or we'll use the double pipeline bars. We'll say, or age is greater than 65, and they will be applicable for a discount. But then remember, that's not the only part of this this conditional here. They have to either be less than 12 or greater than 65 years old, and it must either be a Friday or a Sunday. So we have to add another and statement. So this is going to be two separate conditionals within one giant conditional. So we're going to say if their age is less than 12 or greater than 65, and put another set of double parentheses, the day of the week is equal to Friday or day of the week is equal to Sunday. Just move my webcam a little bit. As you can see here on the screen here, my webcam up. As you can see here on the screen here, we have our first part of the conditional, that's the age. So if the age is either less than 12 years old or greater than 65, then that's a yes, that's a check mark, that's the first check mark of the conditional. Now we have to move on to the second part, so and either one of these also has to be true. So that means if the day of the week is equal to Friday, we put it in double quotes Friday because we want to make sure that it's equal to whatever the input of the day of the week that the person's putting in, essentially reading that in and seeing that's equal to Friday. So since it's a string, you put it in double quotes, or if the day of the week is equal to Sunday. So you want to put a double equal to sign. That's where you verify whether or not a variable is equal to a certain value. It's just one equal sign is when you're setting a variable equal to a certain value, but day of the week equals to Sunday. That's just seeing if the day of the week is actually holding the value Sunday inside. And oops, I almost forgot. Remember we said our day of the week has to be lowercase. So let's just adjust that. We'll make Friday a lowercase f. We'll make Sunday a lowercase s. So now that we've done that, we've got the first part of our conditional done. Now all we need to do is we have to make our else statement as well. But we'll first begin by putting our conditional inside here. So we want to print something out. If they are eligible for a discount, that means they will be passing these two conditionals right here. So we want to print something out saying that you are eligible. So let's just create a regular system.out.println statement to our console. And we'll just say inside, you are eligible for a discount. Just so that the user knows that they are eligible and then they fall within the qualifying range. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to simply end this off here with another else statement. Remember, they're either eligible for a discount or they're not. So we want to create an else statement saying that they're not eligible for the discount if they don't follow if they don't qualify for all of these conditionals here. So we'll say else system.out.println you are not eligible for the discount. We'll just end this off with a semicolon at the end. All right, and then just make sure to end this part off with brackets. All right, so as you can see here, we just finished off our program here. This is our conditional here. So as you can see, we created the if statement here. This is saying if if a person's age is less than 12 or greater than 65, and if the day of the week is either Friday or Sunday, they are eligible for a discount. But if either one of these things are not true and they do not pass, if they're not in the right age gap, or if it's not either one of these days combined, both of those things are not true, then that means it'll simply print out that you are not eligible for the discount. So this was a very, it came out to be a more simple conditional statement, but working through this can be a little bit difficult. All right, everyone. So sorry, just to clarify for this code, there's one little issue that we had before we continue with the testing. If you can see at this top if statement here, we initially put day of the week equals Friday. However, on Java, you cannot use the equal sign for a string. You can only use that for things like your numbers, your integers, and your doubles. But for an actual string, you have to use this function called dot matches, and then you put in parentheses what you want to check if the string actually has inputted into its value. So here we're just saying dot matches, and then in double parentheses, in double quotes as well, Friday. Same thing here, day of the week dot matches, Sunday. So we're trying to see if the day of the week variable that we had, if the person inputted a string that is either Friday or Sunday. It's seeing if that matches whether or not it's Friday or Sunday. That's just to verify that. So if we go through and test this, this should work. So if we hit our play button here, say please input your age. Let's put a valid age here, 4. Please input the day of the week, lowercase, let's say Sunday, for example, or let's say Friday. And it says you are eligible for the discount, and that is correct. 4 is within this age range here. It's less than 12, and Friday is also one of the selected days. Now, if we do something else to test if the other part of our code works, if the else statement part of this conditional works, we're going to put in an invalid age, say for example 66, and let's put in an invalid day, Monday. And as you can see, it inputs you are not eligible for the discount because this conditional here was not valid. So just like that, this programming indeed does work. and it takes a little bit of logical thinking to create your variables and map this out. So make sure you make little notes and break up your code into different segments so it helps you map it out and tackle the exercise. All right, everyone. So that'll be it for today's lesson. I hope you all enjoyed. This was a little bit more of a difficult exercise, but we did power through it. So if you have any concerns or if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Please make sure to like and subscribe as well to help support the platform. And I'll see you all in the next lesson.